Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
and today we're going to discuss why are Teslas so popular. But first, let's roll that title.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We have got a real interesting article linked if you want to read it at your leisure. But this article talks a little bit about why are Teslas so popular, and they reference the Bay Area of San Francisco. But I would say that you could certainly roll this out California wide. You could also really roll it out to basically population centers.
Nation, the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is a lot of Teslas everywhere, and as we've seen over time, they really take up a lot of the market share for EVs. And this article kind of talks about why is that? Why are Teslas so popular? There's a stat out there for California that there are about 1.5 million EVs on the road in the state. And of the 1.5, we're just over 900,000 of them are Teslas. So mid 60% across the board is Tesla over the rest of the automotive industry that makes EVs. Why is that?
Mark, let me tell you, I'm Legacy Auto CEO here. It's just luck of the draw. They happen to be focused on this when it hit big. We could do this if we wanted to. It's hardly an inconvenience. We can make it happen. We're gonna roll out
You
something.
sound like an automotive executive from 10 years ago or maybe 15 years ago because that's the same story they're still talking about today.
Yes.
And of course, there is some truth in it that Tesla was first to market uh,
in, in
with
this in this style.
with a compelling car,
There you go.
with,
Yeah, because
with
there were
something
others. They
that
just
could
didn't
be used
click.
in a daily fashion, that had the range, that allowed people to move around and do their regular thing. They were first to market, and people that are first to market typically get a bit of a lead. In this case, Tesla has got a huge lead and continues to hold on to it for the reasons of innovation. Another thing that they're able to do that others have a hard time following: updating the car with software updates, providing new features, providing updates to features to make them even better, um, sending a fix to the car without them having to have to go to a dealership and spend a couple hours getting an update through a USB drive.
Or
These
on
are
the busiest travel day of the year, they're out there inspecting seatbelts when there was a seatbelt recall way early in the Model S's life.
exactly these are things that Tesla has innovated in the business model of selling cars, and it has paid them back handsomely when it comes to sales and when it comes to people enjoying their cars and willing to buy their next car with the same brand because they've been so happy with what they've had previously. I don't know how many Tesla owners I've run into over time that are completely happy with the car they have, but openly admit, if something was to happen or I had to move to another car, my next car will be a Tesla again.
Yeah. Or I've already done it in this case. I went from a
There you go.
Model S to a Model X. And then we know so many people who have got a menagerie of Tesla, and more power to them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
So again, there is the we've heard about the Tesla stretch. People
Yep.
are willing to spend a little bit more than they typically would to get a Tesla. And what is the reason because of that? Is it just because Teslas are cool, which they are?
They're cool, yeah.
They've got a brand recognition out there that is the cool factor.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. They
They
have
they
they have something that makes people think about, this is the it car. This is going to get me noticed, and in some cases it does, although I would have to say that over time that becomes less and less of a factor because, of course, when you've got a state like California where basically 2/3 of all electric vehicles are Tesla, the unique factor is kind of disappearing if it hasn't disappeared altogether.
Yeah. But I mean, look at the iPhone. It's still very popular.
Yep.
Around the world. In the States, it's and probably Canada too. It's like number one. But
Yep.
it's not so much around the world, but it's still there, and it's noticeable. And if you're in a place where phones are already expensive, it's still got that cachet to it because, like, oh man, they spent a month's salary on a phone, and and so that's still there around the world. And Tesla's still kind of the same way. Thankfully, it's not so premium priced anymore. They've got programs for everywhere around the world, and they've been bringing the price down as their cost to build them has gone down. So it's more and more attainable. And you've got the like Mark was talking about earlier. You've got the whole experience. You got mobile service. They'll come to you. Not very many other brands have something like that. You've got just the style of communications when it's good. You've got the vehicle is kind of suited to your needs. They've gone for this whole ultra minimalist thing. Even the Rivian right now still has more buttons and switches than the Tesla does. But you look at what some of the legacies are doing, and it still looks like the cockpit of a 747, even for their EVs. It's like, do I want to touch that button? What does that abbreviation
I
mean?
wonder what it does.
The passenger seat. When I sold cars, I had some folks that were a little older, and they liked to have the nicest, newest. And I would show them everything, and I'd tell them, hey, anytime you want, just come by and I'll show you again, or call me and ask what does this button do, and I'll tell you. And then, sure enough, a couple years later, it's time for the next car, and oh, I didn't use any of those. Like, why did you call me? I'd be glad to help you with them. They would have increased your enjoyment. And like with Mark and I, our cars they are not the same cars that we bought 6 years ago. Uh, they added stuff like the dash cam and the Century View, and they added some automation to well, not to mine, but like the seat heaters, where a little bit to mine, uh, but yours are better at it. Like if it's a cold day, they'll automatically add the seat heaters in if you have that set to auto, and uh, just all these little things. Like for mine, one of my more recent updates before the summer update was it said just nothing. You're not getting anything, but yet I still got the new map interface. Like everything in nice big bold print and nice uh,
Yeah.
little bar showing you how far you are along, so you don't have to like go to different apps in the car, which is cool. And just all these little things all added together just make it a nice total package. And so what you have is a lot of folks that do the repeat customer thing. And
Yeah, like you mentioned with the iPhone, Casey, I think what Tesla gets correct that others do not, and until you compare by driving both a regular EV and a Tesla, you typically are unaware of this. But when
I got an EV, no problem.
when
It's
you're
fine.
making the software and the hardware,
Yeah.
and you know them both inside out, the integration, the efficiencies that you can actually obtain are worlds apart from a regular EV. So you get smaller batteries, you get longer range, you get a cheaper price, and you get this infusion of features that seamlessly work together. And all these little things make a huge plus when it comes to owning the vehicle because
They're not islands either. Like ever since we got ours, they've added more features to work within their ecosystem. So if you've got a Tesla solar system or a power wall, you've got charge on solar. So you can only charge using your excess solar if you want to do that. Or we've got power share with the Cybertruck, and hopefully future vehicles coming as well, where you can then use the vehicle to weather a catastrophic power outage, say a hurricane or earthquake or whatever, and you'll be good if your structure was fine uh, until they're able to come clean everything up. So your food won't spoil, and you can still run the air conditioner if it's hot, or the help run the heat if it's cold. Some they're not they're not the first with any of this. Just like the Apple was the BlackBerry was killing it, and then Microsoft came in and they were doing it too. And then where are they now? Neither of them is really making a phone, right? And so they're not first. They're not always the best at each individual thing, but the combination of it and then just the user experience. Like if you need to look up something in your manual, you just go to the touchscreen, search. You don't even have to open the manual anymore. Now you can search for wheel lug pattern or torque, and it'll tell you, oh, when you get the tire shop to do your tires, you need 129 foot-pounds of torque. Or I had the Newton meters because my torque wrench is actually Newton meters, but I forgot. Uh, stuff like that. It's just a whole package of little bits. Uh,
What about the big differentiator in the beginning, the supercharger network?
yeah, yeah,
Like
they were the
this
only
was
ones.
something that Tesla said right from they understood that the people that buy our cars do want to travel further distances and they want reliable charging. So we're going to have to build our own network. We're going to have to build something that's seamless. We're going to have to build something that's quick. We're going to have to build something that can be used 24/7 and is reliable. And they
Friction free,
actually did it.
and they
They
did, yes.
actually did it. They made the first supercharging network on I-5 between Los Angeles and San Francisco. That was the first number of stalls put on California roads,
Yeah.
and it was a wild success.
They did some up
So
in the
much,
Northeast Massachusetts. Yeah,
so much so we are now at 100,000 chargers out there in all these different countries across the world,
yeah.
and that this system is working so well that the other automakers
Hey, can we do
had
that? Can
to
we do
come
that?
on board because they realized
Yeah.
that these other third party charging systems just did not hold a candle to what the supercharger network was doing. So again, this is a company that realizes the issues before they become huge issues, and they develop solutions and updates to those problems in order to make their customers satisfied. And
This was built car from engineering, and they didn't announce it till I don't know if it was right before the cars started going to customers or shortly after they got them. Hey, by the way, how would we said this thing can charge overnight. How about if it could charge in 15 minutes? And all right, we've got this thing right here at the design center, and then all the way in the next one. And not only that, they had on the S's and X's up until the refresh, they were all able to do battery swap, uh, and some of them did do it, but it wasn't very popular. So they phased it out. So when they redid the Model S and X, that was gone. But like the
well,
willingness
again,
to even
they explored the solution. They figured out it's not as good as what we could do with supercharging. It's not as cost effective for us
try,
nor the customer,
and the
and
customer doesn't like it because
makes
now they've
sense.
already paid, but now they're still going into the bathroom, and the same guy who just walked in for free on the supercharger uh, is walking out with
Yeah,
them. So
yeah. So this is a great thing, and why are they so popular? Because of all these reasons together, it becomes a huge win for the customer. And again, I would say that some of the people that buy other EVs are quite content and happy with what they've purchased. But I would also say that a lot of them have no idea what the Tesla ecosystem can offer them. They've never gotten involved with it. They never understood because they've never owned one. They never participated in it. And a lot of them are just operating from the only thing they know. They haven't looked at another network at all. And they continue to operate and think that their EV is providing them all this stuff. And yes, it is providing them some wins when it comes to CO2. It's providing them some wins, getting them into the electrification transportation game. It does save them money. There are many pluses for any EV, but I'm just saying that you should compare apples to apples. You should try all vehicles or the different types of vehicles and be able to say, hey, this one does it better, this one lacking here or is better here. But I am a convert. I came from a Volt. I came from a Bolt. I understand what those networks were able to do and not able to do,
like
and
we,
I
we,
can
we
tell you
just the app
there.
alone, like to open our car, start the climate when it's cold, which is more often for Mark than me. but like to open the car was what 30 seconds sometimes,
Yeah,
and
it was ridiculous. The seamlessness of what Tesla delivers, software and hardware wise, I think is the victory. I think that's really what elevates them above others. The ability to make their own things if they feel that third party parts aren't up to standard.
yeah,
Think about the seat debacle that they started with the Model
yeah,
3, the Model S. They had bad seats.
oh,
They were
terrible.
forced to buy these seats and they were hard. They were not
Cool.
comfortable. So, what
Yep.
did they do? They decided to develop their own and make their own seat factory. In fact, they're still using their own seats today because they have vertically integrated based on the knowledge that they've picked up over time. And that in a nutshell is why they're so popular, not only just in the Bay Area but worldwide.
Folks in my circles, just the various circles I run through online, that decided that they were going to get rid of their Tesla for reasons, or the lease was up and they're going to try something fresh. And a number of them came back right away. They said, I have my reasons why I wanted to get rid of it, and so I bought a used one. So I'm not out of the family because I love this car, but at least that way I didn't give money to whatever it was I was fighting against. Or the people who were like on the lease, they're like, yeah, I tried it. I turned it in early because wow, it's not a Tesla. I want a Tesla again, and that's what it is, and stuff like that. And you don't get that often with very many other products that the regular people can obtain.
Let's turn around to the audience and ask them what do you think are the reasons that Tesla is so popular?
Yeah.
Is it some of the ones we've mentioned? What do you find to be compelling of the vehicle from what you've experienced? Or if you're someone new that hasn't bought a Tesla yet and are just kind of looking for information, what do you hear about them? What do you think would make you pull the trigger? What compels you to go into a Tesla over something else or not? Love to hear from you in the comments as to what you feel on this question as well.
If you haven't bought one yet, you want to. Mark's got a code down here, and I'll get you right at the moment. At the moment we're recording this, it gets you $1,000. Um,
Off the price, yeah,
Price. And that
absolutely.
stacks with other programs, which is usually the car dealers, not car dealers, but the car sales uh, system. They don't really like you stacking stuff. So you can stack this with veterans. You can stack it with the referral, and this is pretty cool to see because even Tesla in the past has sometimes said, oh, you can do this or that. You can do the referral or this other thing and not. So like if they have an interest rate or if they say on the last day of the month, they say, oh, we're going to give you 3 months of supercharging or here's a hat with the Tesla logo on it or something. All of that stacks at the moment, which is really cool.
So put in the comments. Let us know what you think. Why is Tesla so popular in your mind, and
Yeah.
what you see out there?
Are you gonna get another one, or if your first one exciting, which one are you gonna get? And or have you already bought multiples, and why? What was your favorite?
And with that, Casey, any shout outs as we end this show?
Yeah. So catch us on the live show on Wednesday at 7 Eastern, and we'll be glad to see you there.
Absolutely. With that, we'll say goodnight. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.